Yes, my name is Laura Zeigler, and I'm the Talent Acquisition Specialist here. I joined SEK in 2023. I'm responsible for all levels of recruitment throughout the firm, from the internship program up to those managerial roles. I graduated from Shippensburg University with my undergrad, but more recently, my master's of applied psychology. And a fun fact is, I'm actually one of 5 Lauras here at SEK. So I think that's pretty fun. Today, I will be talking to you about current conditions, changes to come in 2024, things that you can offer, recruiting and sourcing ideas, and then ways to help with retention. So we'll start off with current conditions, and here are 2 graphs, one for Pennsylvania, one for Maryland, showing the unemployment rate since 1992. So overall, in April of 2024, the national unemployment rate remained at 3.9, and it had 6.5 million unemployed. Um, Overall, job postings on Indeed are down by 20% from the peak of it in 2021. But what I really liked about this graph right here is you can see that in 2020, if you're looking back at the years that we really went through something super different. We went through the pandemic, and you can see from the graph that the unemployment kind of shoots right up and then it comes right back down, unlike kind of the other trends we've seen in the past. So what you can offer as a nonprofit, your brand 100% matters. You want to be clear that, this is why people love working for you. You want to have a clear story to tell about your organization, what you bring to the table, what your mission is, what your values are, the culture. And the key to really doing this well is managing it consistently across all platforms, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your website. Everything should have the story about you guys, what your mission on is, and you cannot repeat that enough. So definitely branding is huge. So for some recruiting or some sourcing ideas, you always need to remember to be proactive and intentional. I always like to say that recruiting is a lifestyle. Just because I leave my desk at 5 p.m. doesn't necessarily mean I'm done with my job. Being proactive can be something as simple as keeping your business cards with you at all times, and any of the purses that you have or in your gym bag, just always being kind of ready to make connections. We also have some job boards here that are other than Indeed or LinkedIn. These are really good because if you are targeting maybe a specific kind of talent or a specific kind of candidate pool, you can pull from these that will have more of those options for you than kind of throwing it out there on those bigger social media platforms. Now, an employee referral program is great as well. I always like to say good people know good people, or you often hope they do. So, incentivizing your employees to refer any friends that they may know is a really great way to help build a pipeline. You can also get more involved in schools, campuses, high schools, colleges. You can do this by just going to professors, if there's any clubs that are geared towards what your organization does, getting involved with those. If you have any alumni that work for you, you can send them back on campus. And the career service centers at campuses are amazing. They are the place to go that the students will go to when they're trying to, enter the professional workforce. So any jobs or opportunities you can take to them that they can help give the students exposure to is really a win-win for everybody. You can also use interns. That's a really good way to get, the interns exposure to your field, and you kind of get to test drive them as well. So that's really excellent way to get some more involvement and build a pipeline. And if the position you're recruiting for is degreed or needs a certain degree, explore maybe other degrees that would allow the same foundational skill set, and then kind of evaluate where you could just provide training on that job. So you're not really limiting yourself to just that one degree. So you can also review former employee list of all previous terminations. You can go back years. You can consider who you would rehire, if they would be a fit to your culture, to your benefits, and you can reach out to them. You can also use social media. This is a really great way to look for employees. You can search on LinkedIn free. You can search by company, by graduation year, by the school they graduated from. You can really search any way, shape, or form on LinkedIn, and that will really help build a pipeline then too. Also, with social media, be sure you're posting new hires or anniversaries, because when people are looking at the potential of joining your organization, they can see that you really value the current employees and the current talent that you have. Christina, can you click one more time for me? Thank you. So you can also build an Excel spreadsheet to track all of your recruiting efforts. Recruiting is a lot of back and forth with people, and it's really hard to remember who was on what job and who did what and what you said you were going to do next. So just making sure that you're as organized as possible so the process can be very seamless. You want to make sure you have their contact info. How do you know them? When did we last speak? What did we say we were going to do? What did they say they were going to do? And what are the next steps? Oh, and we have a poll question here, so go ahead and answer that really quick. And we're going to move on to the candidate experience. So the candidate experience is from when that candidate fills out a job application to signing an offer letter. Of course, you as a candidate, you always want to make sure that you're leaving a good impression on the organization, but also as an employer, you want to be leaving a good impression on that candidate. You need to make it really easy for them to apply. You need to have an easy spot where they can put resumes, and you just need to make it really seamless for them. The interview process must be timely and focused, regardless of if the candidate's a fit or if it's not a fit. You want to be respectful of their time and show that you value that, and just get them the answer as soon as you can. Again, creating an About Us section on that careers page, just so that they can get to know you and your mission. A candidate should always be doing their due diligence before coming and interviewing with you, but also, again, making it as easy as you can for them and just kind of putting everything in front of their face. So changes to come and AI and nonprofits. So before I get into AI, I want to mention that, of course, collaboration between nonprofits is going to become crucial, definitely to help move the needle on issues, as well as just providing that additional support in the social sector. But what I really want to talk about is AI and how AI can really help a nonprofit. So there are tools out there like Gravity Write and JobScan. Both of them, they are free to use, and there are also versions you can purchase. I would recommend just always using the free version. There's really no need to purchase them. Gravity Write can be used to create content. Storytelling can make little videos, little ads for your organization. And then JobScan is really just more of a time saver. If you don't have the time to go ahead and put your eyes on the resume and look over everything, JobScan can definitely do that for you. And the link below the graphic there is just a quick, maybe 5-minute read on just how you can add AI into your nonprofiting marketing toolkit. So something else I want to talk about with AI is ChatGPT. And ChatGPT is really a great resource. And again, it's free to use. There is a version you can buy. I don't recommend doing that. But the link for ChatGPT is right there. And you kind of just talk to ChatGPT as a person. So I use ChatGPT to assist with job descriptions, to help write templates for new hires or LinkedIn posts. I've used it to write my LinkedIn bio. So you can really kind of tell ChatGPT to do anything. Here I have an example. I said, please make a job description for an admin assistant working in a nonprofit setting. And you can see here, ChatGPT put the About Us section right at the top, has the job description, the position overview, responsibilities, and qualifications. I would always recommend using whatever you get from ChatGPT as an outline, going in, editing it. Sometimes ChatGPT can be wordy or just a little bit repetitive, so just make sure you really tailor it to the role or whatever you're using it for. But overall, it's definitely something great to use. So the onboarding process. So onboarding is different than the candidate experience. Onboarding is what happens once a candidate signs an offer letter. So once they are signing an offer letter and they are getting ready to be transitioning into your organization, you want to make sure that you're providing a formal and a planned orientation for them. Management doesn't necessarily need to be in the orientation, but they should be there at the work site prepared to greet their new employee. You should have some work assignments lined up for them. You should have all their resources upon their arrival, including their desk, if they have a computer, just making sure they have everything they need to really get going in the job. Assign a buddy. And this will really help if they may be just working with a direct supervisor, but giving somebody a buddy and somebody else to kind of take those miscellaneous things too, like what do I do if I get sick, or what about PTO, or this person can also be the one taking them around the office and meeting them, and introducing them to the coworkers, showing them where the bathroom is, just things like that. Be sure to always clearly communicate the expectations that the new hire has, and be sure to check in with them. Do a new hire follow-up 30 to 90 days after. You could do 60 days, you can do 45 days, but definitely just keeping that communication open with the new hire and checking in on them to see how they're transitioning in their new role. So we're going to move on to retention, and I pulled this quote here from the APA. So it says that 91% of the US adults say it's important to have a job where they can grow and learn, but only 47% of their employers offer educational opportunities. You can go ahead, Chris, to the next one. So here we will talk about leadership and management, right? So people leave managers, not companies. I've heard that quote a lot. So when you're in a leadership or a management role, you really want to pay attention to who you're being. Be open to change, be flexible, provide that continual feedback, reward and recognize when you can. That's a really good way of positive reinforcement. This really gives people a sense of purpose, belonging, really makes them feel empowered. Again, always clearly and consistently communicating, whether it be updates or the mission and the goals of the organization, always communicate with your employees and treat them fairly. Now, stay interviews can be really useful, especially for your current staff. You can sit down with your current staff and go over with them, why have you chosen to stay here? Are we meeting your career development goals? What is something that you're looking forward to when you come into work? Does anything weigh heavily on you when you're leaving work? Are there any talent, skills you have that you really want to contribute that we haven't given that opportunity for you to do so, or we just haven't noticed? And of course, what might tempt you to leave the organization? The best relationship between an employee and an employer is really transparent, and the employee needs to be just as transparent with you as an employer. So with more on retention here, I have this graph and I really liked this image. It's top reasons for quitting. And more importantly, it broke it up into major and minor reasons. So you can see there that, low pay is definitely at the top, and it kind of goes down by feeling disrespected, lack of schedule flexibility, lack of benefits, things like that. So if you can offer hybrid or flexible work schedules, this would be a really big thing with retention. I've seen people stay in jobs purely for the flexibility. If you can have varied start and stop times, if you want to, maybe an employee would rather start at 7 than at 8, allowing them to do so. If somebody has an appointment one day, allowing them to work an hour longer the day before or the day after instead of taking PTO. This really gives people a lot of flexibility and a lot more freedom, and it feels like they're very trusted. Of course, reviewing compensation. You can do your research on this. Pay scale. I believe the pay scale will have generalized reports you can buy to see if you're in the market. Salary Expert, salary.com. The nonprofit association surveys, you can actually buy salary surveys and compare it to see if you're in line with the market. Of course, looking for salary compression, adjusting as necessary, things like that. Developing a mentor program can be really big with retention. A lot of times people feel the mentee is the one who really gets the majority of benefits out of that, but the mentors always learn too. As a workforce, we're always continuing to learn. So being a mentor can actually really keep you up with your career development. And overall, these just really do improve both personal and career development, and it really supports learning culture and increases job satisfaction too. So the last thing I really want to talk about with retention here is just, of course, a comprehensive benefits package. You want to offer as comprehensive of a benefits package as you can, but I really want to focus on those last three on the list. So educational assistance, student loan repayment. A lot of times when people are considering a job offer, they will take the benefits into consideration as well. And while having PTO and of course, the health, the dental division, those are all really, really great things to have. Educational assistance and student loan repayments really go the extra mile. That provides those room for advancement, the learning opportunities with the educational assistance. And student loan repayment can be really big because that is often looked at kind of more monetarily than just a benefit, because that's money that doesn't need to come out of the employee's pocket. Um, I want to move to my image over here. It says what workers want. Again, this is from the APA, so you'll see that almost all US employees say it's important to work for an organization that really values the psychological well-being of employees, provides support for mental health, and respects work-life boundaries. So the psychological well-being of employees is a really big factor, especially nowadays. We want to be able to bring our whole selves to work. We don't want to put our personality in a box, maybe put our problems in a box and set them aside. Always what you have going on personally, you don't want it to affect your work, but sometimes it does, and sometimes you can't help that. So being an employer that provides a safe space for your employees to be transparent about what they're experiencing in their personal life and maybe some resources you might have to help support them. So an EAP or an employee assistance program is a really great way to do this. They can offer free counseling sessions. They can help you with just meditation help or, things like building a will, just those everyday things that maybe people aren't always thinking about. And the quote over here, the statistic is that, 66% of adults say they could have used more emotional support in the last year. So I really feel that just reinstills the value of having these benefits. If you don't want to do an EAP program, maybe think about adding, 2 or 3 additional PTO days in there and branding them as mental health days. This will really, really go miles with your employees and will really make them feel especially valued. Oh, my key takeaways aren't there, but that's fine. Um, they're just creating on that strategic brand image, really getting that mission of this organization out there, the AI tools you can use, and looking into just how you can support your mental health for your employees. And that's it. That's all I have. So if anybody has questions.
Hey Laura, we have 2 questions from the chat.
Okay.
So the first one is it okay to have a person complete onboarding prior to the start date? Things like reading and affirming the employee handbook that could take a few hours.
Absolutely. So there's definitely some back end onboarding work that can definitely be done before coming into orientation. We have our employees read through the handbook prior to coming in, and we have them do some miscellaneous things too, just kind of some back end work with our software and our HR things. But yeah, absolutely. If it's going to be something lengthy like that, you can even maybe have them do training videos at home, things to kind of get them set up into their role.
Okay. And then the next question is please share your thoughts on developing a compensation philosophy.
I might need a little bit of help with this one. Compensation philosophy, just kind of how to develop maybe a range or kind of what the compensation should be. Might need a little bit of guidance with that question.
Yeah, why don't you just answer it in terms of like a benefits package, like
Oh,
altogether, how
oh,
you would
why we
do that?
compensate the way we
Why?
do.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you, Pamela. So we try to compensate. I will say, I mean, things have gotten crazier over the past couple of years, right? COVID really kind of threw us for a loop there. So with compensation, of course, base compensation, something we need to have. But when it comes to benefits, those are really kind of continuing to progress. Those benefits are going really the extra mile, and it really makes a company stand out. And that's really what the end goal is you want to stand out as one of the best employers. I can think of a company I know they offer paternity leave, which is for dogs. If you're getting a new dog or something happens to a dog, you can take a day and go and hang out with them. That's a really unique thing. So when it comes to compensating with benefits, it's really just trying to make yourself stand out, trying to say this is what you offer. You offer it because you value your employees. You want them to know that they're valued, and you want to help them along their career. So I think that's probably the best way I can answer that.
Another question, do you pay them, this is a follow-up to the first question, do you
Okay.
pay them for time for onboarding that is done at home before orientation?
No. We do not. So when we send them, we send things through Paylocity as well as the employee handbook. We do not compensate them for that. They will be compensated for if they have to drive into the office or when they first get into the office on site. But anything prior to that is not compensated.